Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, what life was like in the industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites within communities throughout the state of Massachusetts. Currently, the communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, and also Amherst and Granby as well. His tours spotlight on the canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. In today's episode, we will be discussing the Red Bridge Canal. So tell us about the history of the Red Bridge Canal.
This is a canal started in 1902 by the Ludlow Manufacturing Company in Ludlow, and they wanted to make electricity to feed it down into their mills, which made jute and hemp, and they succeeded. They made a big dam across the Chicopee River, and they forced water in through this canal into a gatehouse and so forth and so on. They got a canal going. This again, 1902. They were doing this and exceeded for a long time doing that until very recently. We'll tell you about that and how it arranges itself, and then about hydroelectricity in general too. So this beautiful canal is still out there, not in the finest shape at this point, but you can still see the arrangements. There's still a bridge over it. The bridge is not the original red bridge, but it's a replacement bridge. I think in 1930s it got swept away in the flood, so they replaced it right away. And it's still a nice place to go visit and to figure out what the arrangement is. Boaters love going out above stream or upstream, and so we're going to tell you much more.
And tell us about the arrangement of the Red Bridge Canal.
All right, the arrangement of the features, the canal itself, of course, is fed by a dam that blocks the Chicopee River, and the outlet, or the place where the water drops down, the overflow is 51 feet high. So if you can go in through the woods and get in to see that dam, it's 51-foot drop. That's an incredible amount of feet. And that shows you how much power must be in this location, and that's why they wanted to dam it. That's the biggest elevation drop of the canal itself. Now, once you get the dam pushing in and water into the canal, you then bring it to a gatehouse where you can control the amount going in, because you want to be ready for it with your turbine behind you. And then it goes through the gatehouse, still in the canal, and it brings you out to where the engine room is, where you have the hydroelectric turbines, and the water comes in there and drops onto there, and then it starts to generate its electricity. Of course, there's an electric grid just behind it. And now this was not a converted navigation canal. It was not a converted hydromechanical canal. It was made straight out to be a hydroelectric canal. So its history is very different, and its arrangement is kind of the same. So that's not a big change. But it has changed in very recent years.
And quickly, before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can also find videos and podcasts of the stops along each of his tours, as well as photos and texts of the historical sites throughout as well. And for private tours or other inquiries, you can email him directly at bobcat4214B@yahoo.com. And his tours make for fun, educational, outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, tell us about the 2023 fire at the power plant and its future.
Sadly, last year, in the year 2023, there was a fire there which really devastated the power plant itself. The the company that owns the power plant said, "Oh, we'll fix it up and get hydroelectricity going back there." But I went to visit it this year in 2024, and all I see at this point is destructive events. They're taking the plant apart. I don't see any attempt to put it back together. And it probably doesn't make sense because it's very expensive. Hydroelectricity is not very profitable at this point. So what does that say about the other features? Well, maybe it's too expensive to take out the gatehouse and definitely too expensive to take out that dam. And they'll probably just leave that there. In a lot of cases, they do leave canals and dams behind and not try to get electricity out of it anymore. That's probably going to happen. So it went from the year 1902 to the year 2023, 121 years, supplying electricity to to Ludlow and Wilbraham and the surrounding communities. It wasn't the highest level of kilowatts, but it was still worth it. And now I don't think they're going to put it back together.
And what is the power industry's opinion of hydropower?
All right, a half century ago, hydropower was number one in the United States. It generates the most electricity of all. Nowadays, it's number 5 and about to be number 6, only a half century later. And what happened is the other ways of generating power generate more power and at a profitable income, and it's very hard for hydropower to do that because all it is the push of water, whereas nuclear is the breakdown of an atom. Coal is the chemical burn of material, especially carbon. Also, you have gas, which is the chemical breakdown of methanes, another molecule. And you have solar and wind. Solar is the sun's energy, which is an incredible amount of energy. And even wind is going to bypass hydro electric power plants in the coming decade. So hydroelectric has gone from number 1 within 60 total years it'll be gone to number 6. In 50 years it went down to number 5. So it's not looked at as a profitable activity anymore because all it is a push where the others are chemistry or physical breakdown.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of your expertise. And of course, we want to thank our listeners for tuning in as well. And you can also check out a large selection of our other podcasts at his website,